All right, what's up, guys and girls? How's it going? I'm Is There No One Else? Bringing you another gear set review video today. I want to discuss the vestments of the Warlock set. I didn't cover it last week, but Warlock got a pretty big buff this patch, and so I wanted to look at the set. I wanted to provide new information for you guys. Wanted to just look it over, see what it does, and see how it compares to one of the most common recovery sets in the game, which is Lich. For a long time, Lich has been by far the best recovery set, and Warlock has had its tiny place in a few niche builds, but with this buff, is it stronger than Lich? Is it as strong as Lich? Those are the questions we're going to try to answer here. So, with that being said, guys, let's dive into it. Vestments of the Warlock is an old set. The old set was, when you fall below 33% Magicka, you restore 9,000 Magicka, and this effect can occur once every 1 minute. I will provide a link to calculating recovery for you guys, for those of you guys that do not know. I posted a video on it, I think, like a year ago. But essentially, recovery happens every 2 seconds, guys. And so what we can do with this is we can figure out that, in a 1 minute time period, we get 9,000 Magicka. So what that means is if we divide it by 30 seconds, which is recovery happens every 2 seconds, this old set turns out to roughly 300 Magicka recovery. So not bad. The new set is when you fall below 25% Magicka, you restore 11,350, and this effect can occur once every 45 seconds. So it got a buff in the max stat amount, and it got a buff in the reduced cooldown. So how big of a buff is it? So what we do is we take the bulk amount, 11,350, we divide it by 22.5 to get what the new recovery is. So it used to be 300, now it's 504.4. So Warlock got a huge buff. Now the question is this buff big enough to replace a Lich build? So if you're considering Lich on a setup because you want that little bit of recovery, will Warlock surpass it? And so what I found, I just wanted to show it to you guys, but I threw together a build here. Very, very simple build. We're running, this is a Magicka DK, we're running an 8 Axiom, 2 Blood Spawn, Lich back bar, Inferno Staff front bar, all spell damage enchants. These are the types of builds that you would probably consider running Lich on maybe. Is like, you want to amp as much damage as possible, but maybe you want just that little bit of recovery on your back bar in case you're Xing, and you're getting that little extra pressure, and so you value that little bit extra recovery over the increased damage of running something else. So Apprentice Mundus Stone, we are a Dark Elf, so we're not getting any recovery that way. Innate Axiom's giving us no recovery. We're getting all of our recovery from Lich on the back bar. So as you guys can see, as far as buffs go, wanted to provide this as well. We are getting Major Intellect, which if we're popping a pot, we're going to have this up all the time. So Major Intellect buff of 20%. Our base Magicka recovery with this build would be 1317. So what does that mean? Well, the Shroud of the Lich set says when you cast an ability while under 33% Magicka, your Magicka recovery is increased by 1032 for 20 seconds. This effect can occur once every 1 minute. Now the thing is this 1032 scales, and so it will scale with vampire bonuses, it will scale with your potion passive, it will scale if you take a resource and you get a continuous buff, all those sorts of things. And so I don't want to put continuous on because, sometimes you're not with continuous. This is just in open world PvP, you haven't taken a resource. So 1317 recovery at base. And so what this means is for 20 seconds we get this recovery. So that means for 40 seconds we get our base recovery, which is 1317. So since recovery happens every 2 seconds, we take 1317 times 20 to figure out how much Magicka we're getting every 40 seconds when we do not have the Lich proc with this specific build. When we use the Lich proc, you see that our recovery goes from 1317 to 2731. Now, a lot of people like to post their stats with the Lich proc, and they're like, yeah, I have 2731 Magicka recovery. No, you don't. You have 2731 recovery for 20 seconds. What is your average that you get with your Lich proc? That's what we're trying to figure out. And so we get 2731 for 20 seconds. So That's 27,310 over that 20-second period. So 2731 times 10, you just throw a 0 on at the end. So we add 27,310 to the previous. And so every minute we get 53,650 magicka with the Lich proc and without the Lich proc. So what we want to do is we want to divide that by 30 to get our total recovery. So with this build, we're at 1788. So when we look at this specific build, without the Lich proc, we have 1317. With the Lich proc, we have 2731. On average, we have 1788. And so the Lich proc gives us roughly 470 recovery with this specific build. So what that means is, if you're running a low recovery build like this, Warlock will actually yield a little bit higher return on recovery than Lich will, because you don't get those scaling modifiers like you do when you have higher recovery. So if we were to change a couple things, and I just wanted to show you guys an example, if we were to change our recovery right here and switch this recovery to magic recovery, and if we wanted to get a little bit more and be a stage 4 vampire, and if we wanted to change a little bit more and we wanted to go to the Atronach Mundus Stone, you see our magic recovery goes to 2,000. And so if we compare it again, you see Lich goes from 2,000 to 3,520. So we'll once again do the test. So 2012 times 20. That's 40,000 magicka in 40 seconds. If we add the Lich proc, 3,529 times 10. So we just throw a 0 on at the end. So that's our total amount, 75,530 over the course of a minute, divided by 30 seconds. So we go up to 2517 recovery. So that's our average. And so when you see here, when we're running 2,000 recovery, sorry, we're at 2012 recovery, and then it goes to 2517. So that means that in this specific instance, we go to 505. We gain 505 recovery. So the gist of it is, guys, if you're running a build where, and it depends, like I just showed you, it depends on what your modifiers are. So this is just kind of a lump sum sort of situation. If you're running a build that pre-Lich proc is below 2k magicka recovery, it may be better for you to run Warlock. If you're running a build over 2k recovery before the Lich proc, you're probably better off sticking with Lich due to the modifiers that you already have. So as you guys can see here, the reason we come up with that, and so we subtract the 2012 here, we have 505. As you guys saw before, our Warlock proc was 504. So we're very, very close to the exact same recovery with this situation where we're stage 4 vampire, Atronach Mundus Stone, and a recovery enchant. Now, we are not a Breton on this build, so Breton would give us a little bit more recovery. Like I said, if you get a continuous all the time, you could calculate it in continuous. Look at your own specific builds, guys. You know, I'm just trying to provide the information for you guys, and you guys can figure it out from there. But in general, I don't think, like next patch, I don't think a lot of people are going to be a vampire because they're buffing Dawnbreaker by 14%. So I would say that, like, I'm going to try to get rid of vampirism on a lot of my builds, especially since Race Against Time got this huge buff with snare removal, movement speed, and on top of that, you get this crit bonus. Like, that's better than Mistform, in my opinion. So I'll be running that. I'll be, like, grinding Psijic out of my ass for that for a long time, personally. Yeah. So, and I won't be a vampire. So for me, on this type of build, you know, if I'm going all damage and I wanted a back bar set, I would look at Warlock over Lich. So hopefully I provided this good information for you guys. I'm not trying to say Warlock is clearly better, because it depends. But I hope this video gave you guys the tools to figure out if you should go out and farm Warlock for your specific build, and if it's going to surpass Lich for you. If you guys have any questions, please comment in the section below. I'll do my best to answer it. I have a lot more videos coming for you guys. I'm going to try and knock out 2 to 3 tomorrow. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a nice day.